Good evening. Welcome to all of you who are here with us in our Commissioners Auditorium, and to those of you who are out watching us on the airwaves. Nobody knows what that is anymore. I'm sure that's an old phrase. But anyway, I'll now like to call the meeting to order. We'll do our roll call, and we still have to do by hand, so if you'll raise your hand if you're here. We're all present? Okay. And our invocation and pledge, Jimmy, if you will do, and Glenn, the pledge.
All stand, please. Let's pray. Father, we thank you this evening for your many blessings upon us. We thank you for the honor and privilege of serving you and serving Pitt County. We thank you for each one that is here this evening. We pray, Father, that you might bless us as a board as we make decisions and deliberate on the various issues. Help us to do those things that would please you and those things that would be the best for the citizens that we represent. These blessings we pray in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Please face the flag. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Okay, let's, all in favor, please raise your hand. Okay. Our first agenda item are our public hearings. I was wondering if we need to do the baseball team first. Do you think we ought to go in and do our baseball team recognition, if you don't mind?
Not at all.
Mr. Rhodes, since you've got to be here anyway, let's do that. Yes, we need to vote on if somebody will make a motion
I make the motion.
to approve the proclamation, okay? Let's vote, please. All in favor? All right. We'll come down and we'll invite the baseball members, if you'll come up right here and line up, and any of your coaches or mamas or daddies or best friends or anybody that would like to come up and be with them, that would be great.
No. All of them got on shorts.
Okay, I bet they'd follow your directions as well as mine. Tighten up, guys. Isn't that what y'all say out there on the field? Tighten up out there. I bet they can fix it.
Can I get the tool fuel back in the middle right there?
Like getting married.
Yeah, let's go that way and spread out just a little bit. Maybe we turn a little bit to the side. Y'all can tighten up with us, they want all of us. I didn't know it was gonna be a photo shoot. Okay, y'all can get back together.
Don't worry, they can look over your head. They can all look over your head there.
Oh, you're right. You're exactly right.
Chairman, if you like, I'll read the resolution. Is there anything
Okay.
you'd like to say before?
No, well, all I'd like to do is just say thank you so much for coming, guys. We're very proud of you. And is there a coach amongst you? Okay, down this way. They look so young. Anybody looks young to me. I think before we do this, let's go down and identify yourself. Just say who you are and maybe what position you play. How about that? Let's start with the coaches.
Ryan Mills, head coach.
Dylan Hughes, assistant coach. Skylar Cross, third base.
Anthony Lane, second base.
James Strickland, first base.
Noah Link, second base.
Okay. And now we'll read this.
And after this, we've got individual resolutions, so we'll hand those out as well. Pitt County Board of Commissioners, resolution of recognition honoring the Pitt County Boys Babe Ruth Baseball 14 and Under team. Whereas the 2016 Pitt County Boys Babe Ruth Baseball 14 and Under team played baseball with remarkable success and dignity as representatives of Pitt County and the state of North Carolina, And whereas the 2016 Pitt County Boys Babe Ruth Baseball 14 and under team earned a 7-6 victory on July 17, 2016 at Guy Smith Prep Field in Greenville, North Carolina. And whereas the players, coaches, and families of the 2016 Pitt County Boys Babe Ruth Baseball 14 and under team deserve congratulations for their time, effort, and resources they committed to going all the way and winning 14 and under Eastern North Carolina State Championship. Pitt County Boys Babe Ruth 14 and under team players are Gage Woolard, Anthony Lange, Noah Link, Jackson Upchurch, Carter Hall, Ruben Beltran, Harrison Daigle, Tristan Griffin, Charlie Dees, James Strickland, Skylar Cross, Hunter Phillips, and Chase Hudson.
Phelps, right?
Excuse me.
That's okay.
Did I say what did I say?
Don't worry about it. It's Phelps.
Thank you, Hunter Phelps. And 2016 Pitt County Boys Babe Ruth Baseball under 14 and under team coaches, Ryan Mills, C.J. Woolard, and Dylan Hughes. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Pitt County Board of Commissioners does hereby recognize the outstanding achievements of the 2016 Pitt County Boys Babe Ruth Baseball 14 and under team and congratulates the players, coaches, and families for bringing the state title to Pitt County, North Carolina, adopted this 15th day of August 2016 by the Pitt County Board of Commissioners, signed by Beth B. Ward, Chairman, attested Kimberly Hines, Clerk to the Board.
Y'all can give them a hand. I'm going to give to the coaches and then,
Maybe the cheer, like you said, you get embarrassed, sorry, we can cheer.
and then we've got,
We've got certificates, so, sign, yeah, so. This is Ryan Mills, Dylan
Chase
Hughes,
Hudson. Is
and
he
then
here?
you'll
Chase Hudson? Okay.
take this.
You go to one Hunter Phelps. There you go.
Skylar Cross.
Okay. And James Strickland.
Charlie Dees.
And Tristan Griffin. Ruben Beltran.
Didn't they say 14 and under?
Carter Hall.
No.
And Jackson Upchurch.
Anthony Lange. Gage Woolard.
Would you all like to say anything?
Thank you very much for this opportunity and letting us coach these young men and for the recognition. We appreciate it.
Well, we're proud of you guys. Thank you for
Thank you.
coming. Look at that. That way they can go get some supper. Okay. We will now go with our public hearings. Mr. Rhodes, thank you for being patient.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair, members of the board, we have two public hearings tonight. Both are concerning conditional use permits for sand mines. One is on a site that I'll show you in a minute that's actually an expansion or a new sand mining operation there. The other one is one you dealt with earlier this year that is now coming back. There's been some revisions, so therefore it is needed that a new permit is to be issued. So the first one tonight is Barnhill Construction Company, again, conditional use permit. As a reminder for both of these items, these will be handled through quasi-judicial procedures as far as public hearings concerned. And any reasons for disapproval, this will be in writing, and of course the appeal goes straight to Superior Court if there is one. And again, for the quasi-judicial procedures, we're here to establish a fact, not facts, not necessarily opinions about what's going on out there. people that would like to speak. We'll ask the clerk to come up in a minute and swear in those that would like to speak. And we'll be compiling the evidence here, have a record of the meeting, and also, again, as I've mentioned, any appeals would go straight to Superior Court. So with that, Madam Chair, I'd like for the clerk to come up to swear in any of the speakers tonight.
Okey-doke. Ms. Hines? Anyone who would like to speak to this issue, if you'll come forward, please.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
For the staff report, and you have that full report in your package tonight, to bring out some of the highlights. This particular property is located on Old River Road, right at the intersection with Bears Construction Road. Pretty large tract here, of which about 68 acres is to be considered as part of this permit. Only about half of that, about 36 acres, is to actually be excavated as part of the sand mining operation. There is an existing mine, and I'll show you a map in just a minute, on this same property, and it's further back toward the Tar River. That conditional use permit was issued back in '08 for, at first, 62 acres. Then the subsequent month, it was modified to add an additional 67 acres. So a total of right at 129 acres already on this site for sand mine. As you know, with our zoning ordinance, there are several requirements that come along with sand mining operations. A minimum separation from the pit to adjacent properties of 100 feet. Hours of operation with blasting. In this case, there won't be blasting with these two sand mining operations. Screening is also required, and of course, a state mining permit has to be in place before operations begin. On the screen now is the actual site that's included in your staff report. This is a fairly large tract, of course, I've already mentioned. The area we'll be dealing with is closer to the intersection of Bears Construction Road here and Old River Road. One of the haul roads will come directly straight across the road of Bears Construction's intersection with Old River Road and go into the site. That particular haul road is currently in place. There's also a second haul road that will be established. So first, as far as this conditional use permit, these are the boundaries that we're considering. Again, close to 70 acres, and these are the different fingers that go through here, and there are various reasons why it's configured this way. Better soils, and also some limitations on the site there that we'll show in a minute. These are the excavation areas. As I mentioned, about half of the site will be excavated and will ultimately end up as open ponds. There's some existing vegetation. Most of this vegetation is also corresponding with wetland delineations. The other part of it, of course, are berms for screening purposes that are located in this separation area here, and also in this smaller area, and one down in this area. There's also a riparian buffer, a blue line stream that runs through this site, so there are, again, some other limitations here as far as that's concerned, and there's a 50-foot setback from those blue line streams. Also, another limitation is an existing house and shed. There's a septic system that is associated with the home. There are some requirements by the Environmental Health Department as far as the separation of that area and the open mining operation. These are the two haul roads that I mentioned earlier. The larger tract, as I mentioned, going further back toward the river, this is where the existing mining operation is currently located, and again, they'll actually share one of these haul roads. So with these conditional use permits, we go through the 4 criteria that you have to consider as far as approving the permit. The first one, will this site materially endanger the public health and safety? Remember, it is a requirement, first off, that they secure a mining permit from the state, so they have to meet the state rules. Also, this mine will be separated from the adjoining properties by a 100-foot buffer and also screened, so we believe it will not endanger the public health or safety. Will it injure the value of adjoining property or abutting property? We feel like that it will not. There are other properties in the general location that are used for similar purposes. There's also on Bears Construction Road a concrete plant and some other type uses in the general vicinity. The proposed separation from the adjacent property meets or exceeds the minimum requirements, and we feel like it will not injure the adjoining properties. Thirdly, is it in harmony with the area? We feel like it is. There's several other mining operations in this area. It's also a predominantly rural agricultural area. These mines can also be used, if you looked at the application, the mining sites or the sand mines in the future would be ponds and therefore could be used for irrigation purposes. And finally, is it in conformity with the land use plan and other plans that the commissioners have adopted? We believe that it is. So with that tonight, Madam Chair, we have two motions for your consideration. The first is to acknowledge the conditional use permit is complete and complies with the zoning ordinance. The second, to approve it with the conditional, the conditions per the zoning ordinance, as well as three additional conditions. One, a Department of Transportation driveway permit must be obtained. The septic system issue that I mentioned earlier has to be handled through environmental health. And thirdly, comply with the requirements for the riparian buffer. So with that, we're ready for the public hearing tonight.
Okay, I will declare the public hearing open, and we only have one person that signed up. I know we had a lot that came up, so we'll call on that person first.
First person that signed up is Brent Caudle.
Madam Chair, I'll keep your time at 5 minutes per speaker.
Okay, thank you.
On behalf of Barnhill Contracting Company and myself, I would like to thank Pitt County for allowing us the opportunity to speak on the proposed conditional use permit. We have submitted the proposed conditional use permit in hopes of being able to utilize a piece of property that is located off of Old River Road, approximately 4/10 of a mile from our asphalt plant. The back of the property, as he currently said, is permitted by Tar River Mining Incorporated, who we are currently purchasing material for our asphalt plant. The landowner approached us in the fall of last year about expanding the mining area into those areas that are shaded. And due to the fact that the Tar River Mining Incorporated had no interest in expanding their operation. The material on this property will be used for the production of asphalt for the Greenville Southwest Bypass, as well as future awarded projects to Barnhill Contracting Company in the surrounding Greenville and Pitt County areas. Each mine will be exhausted of its sand source before moving to a new mining area, so there won't be multiple operations going on. We will be required by North Carolina Department of Environment and Natural Resources, also known as DENR, to adhere to strict guidelines and regulations during and after the use of this property. This will be done through DENR's reclamation procedures, and we will be required to submit our plan procedure along with supporting documentation to DENR, as well as apply for a Central Coastal Plain Capacity Use Area Discharge Permit for withdrawal of water for the purpose of dewatering, and an operations and monitoring plan through the North Carolina Department of Water Quality, which both of those permits have been submitted and are under review. These permits require us to monitor wells, wetlands, and blue line streams to make sure we are not affecting those in any way. And the documents that we have to submit to those are the layout and design of the mining areas, the delineation of jurisdictional wetlands, blue line streams. We have to have the correct buffers. We have to show erosion control measures and the location of each mining area. Environmental evaluations have to be completed in regards to environmentally sensitive areas, including wetlands, blue line streams. During the use of this property, Barnhill Contracting Company will have to install and monitor all erosion control measures per DENR's procedures. and that includes construction entrance, silt fences, diversion ditches. All associated organizations, DENR, the Coastal Carolina, or Central Coastal Plain Capacity Use Area, and the North Carolina Department of Water Quality, as well as Barnhill Contracting Company, will inspect and monitor these measures to ensure all erosion control measures are in place and ensure that no sediment leaves the property. Upon the completion of the use of this property as a borrow sand source, Barnhill Contracting Company will be required to dress and seed all disturbed areas. All slopes will be graded to 3-to-1 above the water level and 2-to-1 or natural angle of repose below the water level. There will be a 1-year maintenance period, which will be enforced by DENR, and we will have to address any washouts and reseed any bare spots in that time frame. Once the mining areas have been exhausted of its borrow sand source, it will become a recreational body of water and return to the owner. Again, I would like to thank Pitt County and the board for allowing us to speak on this behalf.
Okay, thank you very much. We don't have anyone else signed up, so if someone will step forward and identify yourself, please, and tell us where you live. That wants to speak to this issue. Yes, just come forward to the mic.
Are these entities being looked upon separately?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I will wait till the next one.
Okay.
Is that a
Is there anybody that was sworn in that wants to speak to this issue? Okay. Then we'll declare the public hearing closed. Are there any comments or questions by any commissioners? Okay, then
I have
I'll,
a question.
excuse me.
In determining where you get the sand from this, did you look other places?
Yes, ma'am. We've looked pretty much all over Pitt County to get the proper material to build the bypass. But this material is actually going to be used in the production of asphalt, and that material is hard to find, and in that area is the best location. And being close to our asphalt plant, it cuts down on the cost of having to haul, and so many trucks having to haul, distances on the road.
But already I'm seeing activity going straight across. And for this process, Mike, should it be activity already happening before it's been approved by this board, or should it be waiting until we take actions?
I think James can answer that.
Commissioner Perkins, let's just go back to the map for a minute. Remember, we've got an existing mine on this site already. In the back here is an existing mine, so this Hall Road, you're exactly right, straight across from Bears Construction, there's already mining operations going on back there, but it's in the rear of the property. This new site is going to be closer to Old River Road. So yes, there's activity on the site.
And it's not these guys for that
Not these
purpose?
guys, it's a separate conditional use permit.
Okay. Mr. Webb?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. In looking at this, I know there's been some concerns, but in the research I've done, most of what goes on up there's agriculture. But when the soil is that sandy, you can't really get the same price for it. From my understanding, it doesn't grow as well, or you can't rent it out for the same price. So, and just thinking that this is probably a better option for the folks that own the property that want to get rid of it. And the ones that they have to comply by the rules, so they have to look nice when you leave. So I don't really have an issue with this.
Okay. Mr. Owens?
Based on the planner's presentation, I move that we acknowledge the application is complete and complies with the zoning ordinance. Secondly, that condition use permit subject to the zoning ordinance with the additional conditions thereto.
Second.
Okay. Is that enough for you, James?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any other discussion? If not, let's all vote. All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, no opposition. Thank you very much for coming tonight. Okay, and next.
As I mentioned, the second public hearing is also for conditional use permit request for sand mine. This is for PLT construction, and if you recall, this was brought before you back earlier this year. So first again, this will be handled in the same process as before through quasi-judicial procedures. And with that, we'd like to remind you of the various requirements that go along with the quasi-judicial procedures. And certainly anyone wishing to speak needs to be placed under oath. So with that, I'd like to request that the clerk come up to swear anyone that would like to speak on this item.
Okay. The people who were sworn in soon, is that okay, Madam Attorney, or do we need to?
If you'll swear them again for this new proceeding.
Okay, if you plan to speak on the second item, you need to come up, please, and be sworn in again.
This site is located on NC 33 West, and we'll show you a map of that in just a minute. Also, we're looking at an excavation site of about 16.5 acres of the 34 acres that's included here. This particular one is one that came back before you in January. It was approved. There's a 6-month time period in which someone has to start process there to get their vested rights established. That was not done. So in turn, this issue of the mine comes back before you. I would like to highlight there have been some changes. This new proposal includes about 16.5 acres of excavated area, which is about a 6-acre reduction in the intensity of the previous proposal. So in turn, what you're seeing tonight is a watered-down version of what you saw about 8 months ago. As we've already discussed, the zoning ordinance has numerous requirements that go along with sand mine operations, 100-foot setback, hours of operation, if blasting's going to take place. In this case, it won't. The screening requirements, and of course, also a state mining permit to be issued. This is the site under consideration. Just to orient you, this is Highway 33 where they'll be taking access. Belvoir Elementary School is just off the screen and to the south of here. Ferris Construction Road would be a little bit further towards the north. This is the site in question. This is the amount of area to be excavated. Previously, there was area on the opposite side of this blue line stream that was also going to be excavated. That is no longer the case. So in turn, that is to be unexcavated. There's also, again, I've mentioned a 100-foot separation adjacent to these residential lots here. There's actually a 150-foot buffer that's proposed on this plan. This is the riparian buffer that we mentioned, again, 50-foot requirement for setbacks along that blue line stream. Again, the criteria that you'll need to consider tonight in issuing this permit, number one, will this site materially endanger the public health or safety? First and foremost, this does come as a requirement that it also have a mine permit issued from the state. All those state rules must be met. Also, the sand mine is going to be separated from adjoining properties by either a 100, in most cases, a 150-foot buffer, and also screened along that perimeter. We do not feel it will endanger the public health or safety. Secondly, will it substantially injure the value of the adjoining properties? We feel like that it won't. There are existing sand mines in the area. There's also the 150-foot buffer that we also have mentioned. Thirdly, is it in harmony with the area? We believe that it is predominantly rural and agricultural uses in this area. Mining operation, once it's complete, there'll be a pond, and we feel that will blend in nicely in this area as well. And finally, is it in conformity with the land use plan and other plans adopted by the commissioners? We believe that it is. Similarly, staff is also recommending approval of this conditional use permit. Number one, motion would be to acknowledge that the conditional use permit application is complete and complies with the zoning ordinance. And secondly, approve it with the conditional conditions of the zoning ordinance, along with 3 additional conditions. Number one, the requirement of a NCDOT driveway permit. Number 2, there was another use proposed on this site where we've been talking with the petitioner here, and they are in agreement to remove the temporary recycled concrete stockpile. That will not be one of the uses on site. And thirdly, as far as additional conditions, also requiring that they fulfill their obligations as staying out of the riparian buffer area. With that, Madam Chair, we're ready for the public hearing.
Okay, thank you very much. I declare the public hearing opened, and we didn't have anyone sign up, so if you'll just come one at a time and speak. That's okay, don't worry about it.
There's several. There is several
Oh,
that are on
okay.
the public addresses. There's at least
Okay, it
3
was on
here.
the public address, not on the other, but that's fine. So you want to call them out, or do you want to? We'll just do this. You all just be polite.
And I'll keep
And
your
wait
time
your
at
turn.
5 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much.
We're doing what?
I'll keep your time at 5 minutes.
Oh, thank you. Okay,
At public hearings, it's 5 minutes.
thank you. Anyway, thank you, commissioners, for allowing me to speak. I am north of the river. I was born north of the river. I've lived most of my life north of the river. Some of my neighbors are here north of the river. We have a lot of issues north of the river. One is sand mines / sand pits. I cannot ride Highway 33 or any of the existing highways without seeing a sand mine and sand pit. And they do not turn into beautiful garden spots of lovely water and plants and palm trees. They do not turn into that I've seen. So therefore, we, concerned citizens north of the river, request an immediate zoning moratorium of sand pits north of the river, especially Highway 33 West and the Old River Road area. Multiple sand pits, businesses already exist in the area and create certain hazards. Now, if you don't live north of the river, and I don't know who does and who doesn't, but I do know that we somehow come up the short end of the stick in a lot of ways, and the sand pit's one of them. This is not just my opinion, but friends and relatives and citizens and neighbors of mine feel the same way. I'm going to give you some of the reasons now that we have come up with that we look upon as hazards. Number one, traffic hazards and congestion on Highway 33 West. I drive 33 West daily. I drive 33 West sometimes 3 times daily, back and forth to Greenville. If you don't travel that highway, you don't know how congested it is. There are 2 elementary schools around these sand pits. Yes, that's Belleville Elementary, but one that's overlooked is Northwest Elementary, which is across the road from me on Holland Road. And yes, I have worked over there. I'm a retired teacher. But so do not forget Northwest Elementary, which somehow along the line is forgotten at certain times. So we have 2 elementary schools, Northwest Elementary on Holland Road and Belleville Elementary on Highway 33 North. Well, you know what that means. And school starts up. Additional traffic, additional buses, multiple school buses, parents traveling. I'm almost ashamed to say it, but a lot of kids do not ride the bus, even though it's free for them. Their parents take them. Holland Road, we are inundated with traffic twice a day, in the morning and at night, in the afternoon. Teachers, lots of teachers are traveling. Highway 33 West from Greenville, Tarboro, Edgecombe County, going to school, and in the afternoons returning. We have a Belleville Volunteer Fire Department located at Belleville that deals with emergency situations. The roads have to be cleared. They use Highway 33 West. We have a Dollar General store at Belleville on Highway 33 West, and that creates traffic. We have a Belleville Free Will Baptist Church on Highway 33. That creates traffic. We have many, 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 many mobile home parks north of the river, and we certainly have our share on Highway 33 West and East, I'm assuming, but I'm concerned mainly with West because that's where I travel. And on Holland Road, we have our share of mobile home parks, and with that comes traffic and other issues. We also have Harvey Ray Lewis Construction dump site, which is immediately on 33 West across from the dollar store, which is right across the street. And if you've not traveled out there, you don't know of what I speak. But the construction site is this, and then the Dollar General is right over here, or dollar store, yeah. But anyway, and I go to the dollar store too, but I also run into a lot of traffic, and so does everybody else. You have Barris Construction Road running in front of that store. Now you're talking about another sand pit coming on Barris Construction Road. That's more traffic. And they come out to Highway 33 West to travel to 264, to move on out to other areas. So I hope these are things that, I don't know if you were aware of them or not, but these are the things of those of us who live here we are aware of. Now, Harvey Ray Lewis construction site, the dump trucks, they are astronomical. It is all day. I mean continuously.
Time.
Okay.
Right across Highway 33, the Family Dollar time.
If you'll wrap up, that's
All right.
fine. Just take a
So
minute.
to make a long story short, therefore, we request that the conditional use sand permits be denied for parcel number 10190 located on North Carolina 33 West, adjacent to State Road 1483 Seville Road. I appreciate your time. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very
Have
much.
your name for the record?
Oh, she didn't give her name?
Are
Would
you Linda Smith?
Yes, she
Linda,
is.
Linda Smith. She's on the
Yeah.
public address. Linda Smith,
Okay.
I've got her address.
Would Linda Smith, that's your name? Yes, ma'am. We're just trying to make sure we've got it in the record. So if you'll identify yourself and where you live, that will be great. Thank
My
you.
name is Herbert Wright. I just built a new home on Highway 33, and I've been on north of the river all my life. And with the additional sand pit that y'all just let Barnhill have, you're adding 75 more dump trucks per day on Highway 33 compared to what's already out there now. So if you add 75 more, it's gonna be coming out of the Barnhill sand pit compared to the one that's coming out of Barris Construction Road, compared to what we're going back and forth to the landfill with. Look how much more traffic you're adding on Highway 33. It's already enough congestion out there now. I mean, but I know everybody is trying to make money, everybody, and we're not here to try to deny everybody from making money. We're just trying to protect our neighborhood and our kids. If we have too many sand pits in the neighborhood, at least we have at least 11 sand pits north of the river right now. Not considering the 5 more that's already coming.
It is.
Barnhill has got 1, 2, 3. Barnhill has got 3 more sand pits coming north of the river, not counting the one your PLT's trying to get. So I mean, we just compounding the interest on top of Highway 33. Plus, we're endangering our children, our parents, elderly people. We have got to look out for those too. So I thank you for your time and take that into consideration. When Barnhill starts up digging the mine they got on Highway 33 right now, we're going to add 75 more trucks per day.
Thank you. Okay. Next.
My name is Rick Smith, and I live on Holland Road, just past Belleville. And Commissioner Webb, you're right. Most of the land in northwest Pitt County is worth a lot more by the load than it is by the acre. You're exactly right, which is the problem we've got. We're losing agricultural land at a horrendous rate, and I'm a farmland preservation guy, and I really don't like to see it go, because every time we lose an acre of farmland, that just adds to the starvation problems around the world, in food production. So, but that's a different story. We'll talk about it another day. As far as the sand pit, and I will say pit, by the way, Commissioner Owens, all of us raised around Fountain and Falkland know that you quarry rock, you mine coal, and you dig sand out of a pit. I've known that all my life. You have too. So let's get that out of the way. It's a sand pit, and we are pockmarked out there with them. And I know I got 5 minutes, so I just need one more. The biggest problem with all this is what's been said before, is the traffic on 33. Since I'm under oath, I'm going to say it's probably twice what the road was designed for. We hear talk of it being 4-lane, heard that for years.
Mm-hmm.
We're east of 95. It's 25 years after the fact before anything gets done down here. You know that. And if you're north of 264, it's 40 years before it gets done. So it's just the nature of where we live. So I implore you, as learned and honorable counselors, that you're commissioners, that you are duly elected, you're duly sworn to look out for the resources of this county. The biggest resource, the number one resource we've got, are the school children who are on this road twice a day, competing with fully loaded commercial vehicles. Go out and look at the skid marks at Barris Construction Road. They're not all, now I'll admit they're not all near misses, but it takes a lot to stop those things. I think Mr. Calder will stand up here and tell you that. It takes a lot to stop those big trucks. And to Mr. Wright's point, 75 more of them, we're going to add another 75 or whatever the figure is by approving this one on 33. I implore you, I plead with you, don't approve this sand mine, pit, whatever, on Highway 33. Think about the children, the mothers that have to send their children out every day, wondering if they're going to get back or not. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person that would like to speak? Ken, if you'll identify yourself, please.
Madam Chairman, my name is Ron Sutton with Herring Sutton Associates in Wilson, North Carolina, and we're here tonight representing PLT Construction. First, I'd like to point out to you that in January of this year, you did approve the conditional use permit for this mine operation. Since that time, as pointed out by Mr. Rhodes, we have actually reduced the size of it. It's been asked to be reapproved. The reason we're here is that the conditional use permit was good for 6 months. We're still going through the process with the state on getting the mining permit. We do have, it has been submitted to them. We have got comments back, and we're currently in the process of addressing those. So if we come here and saying this is a new mining operation, it's actually one that you approved 6 months ago. And based upon that approval, there has been a good faith effort on the part of the owner as well as the person who's going to operate the mine to proceed to get the permit and proceed with his operations as approved. Secondly, we'd like to point out to you there has been an NCDOT driveway permit already issued for the site, for the driveway that's going there. Third, and not to contradict anybody here, the gentleman said there was going to be 75 more dump trucks a day out of Barn Hills pit. I'd like to know what that's based upon. I don't know myself, what to say there one way or the other. Would point out to you this, though, that assume for a second that the mining pit wasn't there and the property was developed as residential property. You'd be probably looking at another 30 to 40 residential homes on the property, and that would generate 300 to 400 more trips a day on 33. The magnitude of this pit, which is only 16 acres, is probably a fifth the size of the one that Barn Hill's talking about that you previously approved. And it's not, this pit, we don't anticipate it being used every day of the week. It'll be used as projects. PLT has projects in this area, and they need a source for dirt. If they're not going this pit, they're gonna be going to someplace else. So the trips are still there. It's a matter of supply and demand on the dirt. So from a traffic standpoint, when you start looking at the arguments that were made by the residents, we just point out to you that whether the sand comes from here or from another pit in the area, you can still get the same traffic generation. So by approving this pit, you're not going to necessarily increase the traffic on 33, because if it's not coming from this source, it'll be coming from another source. With that, PLT is an established company. They've been doing work for the last several years here in the Greenville area. A lot of it out in the industrial park on some pharmaceutical plant expansions that you currently got going on. They do have a need for the material, and it's a situation where they've been able to acquire a site to do that, subject to approval. With that, I would point out to you that they are, like I say, an established company, and as previously stated in the last public hearing, they want to work with the neighbors. We've exceeded our buffers by 50%. We have gone in and provided for planning of those buffers to screen the existing residential areas in trying to be a good neighbor in the area. With that, I'll conclude my comments and would trust that you would proceed to reaffirm your previous approval, more especially upon the fact that it's actually less area now being asked to be approved than was previously. With that, I thank you for your time and consideration.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sutton. Anyone else? Okay, all right. If there's no one else to speak, we'll close the public hearing. Commissioners, any comments, questions, or motion?
I did note that.
Okay, Mr. Farley?
Yes,
Yes,
sorry.
that's okay.
It's currently zoned for agriculture. Are there some crops actually being used on it, or is it just dormant? James?
It's crops.
It's open farmland. I don't know if it's actually in cultivation at the current time.
Okay, that's just one of the things that,
He says no, it's actually in fallow right now.
Aren't there soybeans on that property? Or maybe I don't recognize soybean in these latter years, what they look like. But is soybean a crop?
Yes, it is.
I thought there was some soybean, and Mr. Wright is building a house right across from there. The soybean's still over there, then that's a crop. I don't know right now.
There was soybeans on it last year. I think since PLT has come in and bought the property.
And so it's none there.
They didn't plant it this year.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. McLaughlin, I think you had your hand up, and then I'll come back to you, Ms. Williams.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm wondering how many people here, I know we had about 2 people speaking again. How many people are here that are opposing this sand mine? Could you stand up, please? The ones that are opposing. Thank you very much. Madam Chair, it always alarms me when I see neighboring constituents opposing the matter because of the items that was mentioned, the traffic hazard and the Northwest Elementary School, school bus traffic, teachers traveling, mobile home parks, and you see a great number of people, and that is an area that I do represent, and I'm certainly obliged to understanding some of the concerns that the citizens north of the river have. So it's difficult for me at this time to support this, Madam Chair, so I want you to share this.
Ms. Williams?
Mr. James, Rose, Mr. Rose, when this issue came before us the last time.
Right.
I talked about Miss Lucia Sharp. I know you send letters to the property right around there. Miss Lucia Sharp is, if she ain't 90, she should have been a long time ago. I talked to you about the fact that she was hard to see and she definitely can't make out. I asked you to talk with her. Did you talk with her about that possibility?
I have not.
For the mere fact that Miss Sharp has lived a lifetime. She's lived a lifetime on Unity. If you look in your packet, you'll see where Unity is. That was an issue I brought up the last time, that she needs to have a visible, a personal visit and to be told that building is going to, that kind of digging is going to be going, because she is at a limitation in disability, and the house right next to her is the same. What concerns me is that only the people right around the property get a letter. And when you are digging in an area like that, the whole community is impacted, because there are very few accesses to get into Greenville. And I'm talking about access. Belvoir Highway is a main vein for access into the city proper for Greenville. Old River Road meets Belvoir Highway. So all the people who live in the Belvoir Township, and where, I don't know if y'all know about the Holy Temple area, but all of those veins go right into Belvoir Highway. And so it hampers our travel. It hampers movement. And what concerns me is, I talked about Miss Lucia because she's older. She's not the only one out there, but it concerns me that we don't have much respect for people who lived a lifetime in their community. And when I say we, I'm talking about the board. We need to be cognizant of the fact that we have very few ways to get to Greenville, unless we go towards Tarboro, then go across the Tar River, and then come up on 43. It's very, very few accesses. And I talk about we got the best sand in the world on Old River Road. And yes, the trucks are heavy. The school was not out. Traffic is a problem, and school was out. What are we gonna do? When are we going to be about the quality of life in our area? It concerns me. This is why you hear me speaking so passionately about the area. We're behind the 8 ball, and we need to be concerned. I raised that question before when this came up. Am I right about that, Mr. James Rose?
Yes, ma'am. You
Thank
raised
you.
that question.
I raised this before, and I talked about my concern. Sand pits in our area are multiple. I read in this about, is it 1971 and how they're supposed to be left? None of them are left like that. And I talked about it when this came up before, that it needs to be a very nice to the eyes, graded, left attractive, and not invite dumping and negative things. I talked about that. I know it was approved, but it's back again. And we've got a sand pit now on Old River Road coming up with Burroughs Construction Road. A young man made it right there at that dead end. It doesn't stop. We don't get our highways maintained either. Oh, man. We don't get our highways maintained. And I talk about the fact, yes, I'm on my soapbox, Mr. Farley, Commissioner Farley. Our roads are more than potholes, that's what you call them. They ditches and gutters on the road because of the trucks. And we don't get the respect of having our roads maintained properly. The district is downhill, and it need to be upgraded. And when are we gonna be, the whole board, be cognizant of the needs of the people and the quality of life of North Pitt? For north of the Tar River, I definitely don't support it. Didn't you ask about dynamiting? Because it's right among neighborhoods. There's no blasting. Okay, blasting. He know more about that than I do. He said there's no blasting, so that's the plus thing out of that you're not gonna blast with anything. But I certainly am concerned about the increase possibilities, and I will not be supporting it.
Okay, Mr. Webb, I have you next.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I've just got a few follow-up questions, because what I heard a lot of, some very valid concerns and feelings, but I also need some facts with it. Do we know how many trucks are expected in and out of these places?
We do not.
Okay. Are there 11 active sand pits?
I cannot tell you that.
Is that ballpark? Roughly? More than 5?
More than 5,
Less than 20?
probably.
Around 11? On average. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that to you.
We just voted for one on.
Do we have any stats on vehicle crashes or anything out there? Was any of this compiled as part of the process?
I have not pulled those, but they're available.
Okay. And I think in the future, these are things that need to be considered, and these are things that the companies need to bring with them as part of the application process, because being that it's a quasi-judicial hearing, we can only consider those things that which are facts. And I don't know that I have all the facts to be able to make an as educated a decision as I can. And we obviously have some citizens who, while did not bring statistics, they bring experience of the area, and they bring, you know, their perspective. And I think without those numbers, I don't have the ability to make a decision on this tonight. So if I have to vote on it tonight, I'll vote no. Thank you, Madam
Okay.
Chairman.
Mr. Owens?
You know, this issue has been before this board previously and voted in favor of it. I'll tell you why I voted in favor of it. For the economic standpoint, land for the best use of the land, but I didn't have these people that's been here tonight telling me how it's going to affect them. With that having been said, and them not being here the last time, I think it'd be proper for this board here to send this issue back to the planning board, and maybe the planning board could bring forth some resolution to the matters that we do not have before us. And I'd like to suggest that, Madam. Everybody needs to be heard. These people have been heard tonight, but they were not heard before.
Right.
So that might be a resolution to it.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Garris?
Madam Chairman, I really agree with what Commissioner Owens just said. As I look at this situation, I have some opposing values. My number one value is, or a value, is that I believe that people should have the right to basically do with their property what they would like to do. And for the owners of this property to be selling the sand, that is, in my opinion, their right. It's not illegal. It is inconsistent with our zoning ordinances. And that is the highest and best value that that person can get for that land, and I have no problem with them doing that. However, I also believe in listening to the citizens, listening to the community. And Mark, I don't recall anyone being up here when we approved this before opposing this. But we do have a group of citizens up here very concerned about this. And I always have to fall on the side of the citizens because the majority, because that is who we represent. What I would like to further suggest, in addition to your comment, Commissioner Owens, is that maybe the company get with the community and see if we can come up with a mutual plan to resolve the concerns they have and still get what you want. I always think it's good for people to get together and try to work out issues and resolve and come up with a common conclusion. And I would encourage the company to get with the community and do that. In the meantime, I agree with you, Mark, that maybe we need to let the planning board look at this, look at the details of it, and then come back to us with the recommendations. Because as it has already been said, if I were to make a decision this evening, I would have to say, I would vote no for this.
Could I ask the attorney, based on something Mr. Webb said, and also Mr. Owens, and kind of exactly what you're saying, Mr. Garris, is that the first question is, we have approved this previously, Now it's being reduced to a smaller, does that have any effect on us making a motion? Because I think what needs to be included in the motion is that we look at somebody who knows what the actual traffic is, how many trucks there are gonna be. I think it ought to include what Mr. Gary said about the entities getting together and having a conversation. Can you kind of help us with how we can pull that together as a motion, Madam Attorney?
Yes, so the fact that there was a previous application that was approved, it is a fact that this board can consider in making a determination as to whether or not to approve or to not approve this application. I'm hearing what the folks on the board are saying is that there are additional facts that would need to be heard for this board to be able to make the decision on this application, and that those additional facts could be gleaned from the staff and the planning department and potentially from a recommendation from the planning board after considering those additional facts, that it come back to us. Typically, this would not be one that goes to the planning board, although if this board so directs, we could do that with the assistance of staff pulling some data and a recommendation coming back to you. So if that's the intent, then one option would be to have a motion to defer consideration of this application until such time that it comes back to the board with a recommendation from the planning board and the additional facts that have been requested here today.
Okay, thank you. Okay, can I just move one more space? Does that help you, Mr. Owens, with maybe a motion based on what you were saying?
I am not, I just want to do what's right.
Okay, and I think that's what we're all saying.
my remarks, Madam
Right.
Chair.
Okay, Mr. Colson?
Well, if you look on page 16 and 34, you can see that page 34 actually shows up on page 16. It shows that this PLT venture is not that far, maybe a mile or so from the other one. My question is this, just to ponder. What if the PTL had come up first and we had the people object to that? Would we have agreed to do the other one if we vote no?
Okay, Mr. Hammond?
Yes, ma'am. I've sit and listened tonight, and I know a lot of those citizens had questions in their mind when they built that Dollar General. But I found out that Holland Road has school bus that leaves from the elementary school out there and bring high school or middle grade schools to the school at number 11 and 903. And I was in that traffic one morning, and I would like to say, listen to the citizens tonight. I cannot approve allowing more dump trucks to cruise the roads out there that's already there. And I would like to vote no, or recommend that we not approve this matter.
Okay. Mr. Garris, would you
I would
consider a
like
motion?
to, if I may, Mark, make a motion that we do let the planning board review this and get the additional data, because, again, we have a valuable asset north of the river, and it's sand. And we need to be able to utilize that to the maximum benefit of our community and not negatively impact the community. Because we got a major project coming at the Southwest Bypass, and they're gonna need a lot of sand. And if they don't get it from Pitt County and keep that money within the county, then they're gonna go to Lenore County or Martin County or somewhere else and get the sand. So it would be great if we could work this out to the benefit of the landowner and the community. And that is my motion.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
First, let me see if I can get a second to the motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, we've had 2 seconds. Okay, Mr. McLaughlin, and then you, Mr. Colson.
I just want to ask the lady, what's the lady that's?
Ms. Smith.
Ms. Smith. Ms. Smith, you representing a lot
You'll
of.
need to come up to the mic.
you are representing a lot of the neighbors in your,
These are my neighbors and citizens north of the river, Holland Road, Highway 33.
from what has been said, would this meet your satisfaction to have the planning board reconsider this and try to work out a solution among the citizens of your community and try to come, or do you absolutely feel that this could not?
Well, Commissioner McGawhorn, what's going to happen the next time? Because there'll be another request. What's going to happen? We have asked for a moratorium. What's going to happen? Because there'll be another time. There'll be another request, a proposal. So that's where I'm coming from on this. And I kind of somewhat.
You want to cut it off now, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Garris, I don't think your motion was to get a solution from the planning committee. It was to get a report back. I thought what Mr. Webb said made a lot of sense, to get the information relative to the number of dump trucks, that are traveling, the number of school buses. Am I correct in that kind of thing? Get that data and let that be in what comes back to us, for us to hear that rather than guessing at how many there are. I mean, all of us at some time or another, and I know when I was an educator, I went up and down that road long before there were that many.
Madam Chair,
Yeah,
what Commissioner Hammond said, that is very true, because people seem to forget that Northwest Elementary is on Holland Road. You have to get on 33. Normally going east.
Yes.
All that traffic flows, and unless you're out there, no one knows what the traffic pattern is like.
Right.
It's astronomical, and it will be in a week or two from now.
Right.
Come out, see for yourself. It's right there for you, and then Belleville Elementary.
And what we want you all to know is that we are hearing exactly what you're saying, and we just want to get a better handle, because we deal with the whole county.
And Madam Chair, one more comment though, in comment to Commissioner Williams. I worked at Northwest Elementary. I know where most of those students come from. They come from Old River Road. So how do you think they get to Northwest? They come down 33. The buses travel down Old River Road. So do not forget Old River Road. I mean, you were hastily, evidently, but I'm just saying now, a lot of those students at Northwest, I work there, I know their addresses. When I travel Northwest, when I travel Old River Road now, I see all the addresses. That's where the students are coming from. They're on the buses, the teachers, there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
So,
sir.
one other thing, Ms.
Okay.
So you're saying whether the facts come back with the number of vehicles traveling, the trucks traveling is reduced, you all don't want it, period?
Correct.
Okay.
We need the
One
facts.
last point.
Okay, let me get Mr. Colson, he was next, and then I'll get you, Mr. Farley.
Madam Chair, am I finished?
Yes, ma'am, you are. Thank you.
James, I have a question. Put you on a hot spot here. As the liaison for this board to the planning board, should we not call for the question? What do you expect the planning board would do? I mean, I'm not asking you to predict what they would vote for, but what is it that they possibly can do? Is it not going to be you and your department that collects all the information, the specifics that I think are being asked for?
We will, and we'll probably get some other experts in, such as folks from DOT, to help with that information. But, yeah, this will be a new item for the planning board. Planning board doesn't typically deal with conditional use permits, so it'll be a whole new process. Can't really tell you what to predict as far as what their action would be.
Okay,
Well, I'm not
excuse
finished.
me, go right ahead.
So it would seem to me the traffic's going to be there regardless. I think we do need to listen to the people, but I think we ought to call for a question right now. I don't think it should be kicked back. All it's going to do is delay the inevitable. So I'm gonna make a substitute motion that we go ahead and we deny this permit.
I second.
Okay.
That
Yes,
speaks
sir.
to the point I wanted to make. The question was asked of our attorney, Janice Gallagher, this being previously approved, how does that affect any other motion? Well, I think that if we disapprove something that we already approved, it gives the petitioner a very good chance to reverse us at the appeal
But the
court.
petitioner did not act within the 6-month time limit.
The
I'm
rule of
sorry.
that is don't let your permit expire, but I'm just saying.
But this board's making a decision, I mean, I still think that if this PTL thing, or PLT had come first, we wouldn't have done either
Done
one.
the other.
We would not have approved the other one. That's what I predict. I can't
Ms.
prove that,
Williams, we'll
obviously.
hear from you, and then we'll call for the vote on the substitute motion.
One point that has not been made, my fellow colleagues, is in the case of an emergency, you have to go up Belleville Highway or Old River Road, cross over in Falkland, and then come back up because there's no access from Old River Road to Belleville Highway that expedient. Now, the EMS at one time, I was told that the Falkland, they had to go up and then cross over and go back in order to get to the hospital. And that hasn't been considered at all, emergency traffic, in the case of EMS and emergency vehicles. That's what I'm talking about, and that's important.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Harris.
All right. This is a very sensitive issue from the landowner's perspective and the community's perspective. And I just don't think we have the information, or I don't have the information I need to make a reasonable decision this evening. The original intent of my motion, let me make that clear, even though that you seconded, even though I know a substitute has been made, was to allow this to be reviewed at the planning board with all of the information and the data that we have talked about this evening being gathered and presented to the planning board, and the planning board make a recommendation to us. That's what the planning board does on the issues, make a recommendation to us. And to me, it would be of value to have another set of eyes and ears listening to this proposal, listening to this situation, and helping all of us make a quality decision. That was the intent of my motion.
Okay. Mr. Webb. and
Thank you,
then
Madam
Mr.
Chairman. This will be my
McLaughlin.
last comment on it. But that's also what I was thinking. I just didn't have enough information because the information may change the way I would have voted tonight, just depending on what came back. But I just don't have the information, and I'm fine. It's fine with me if it goes to the planning board, but I can read it for myself. I don't mind it coming directly back to us, but I know we're maxed out on our motions now, so anyway, it doesn't matter. But I'll listen, to what the planning board has to say. It's just, I just need more information, that's all.
And I think that's what just to clarify, Mr. Harris, that is your idea, is to get more information, not necessarily a recommendation to come back before us so we can make a better decision.
Because the bottom line, as I said earlier, there is a very important and valuable asset north of the river, is sand. And we've got to figure out a way how we're going to manage it. That's why I would love for the company and the community to get together and see if, they could brainstorm some better ideas on how we can best manage that. Because as it was pointed out earlier, this issue is going to continue to come before this board.
Okay, Mr. McLaughlin, and then we'll vote.
That certainly concerns me from the other commissioner. I certainly understand your reasoning. But when you have Ms. Smith and have all of the neighboring surrounding homeowners and property owners say what they said, I for one want to represent those constituents that I serve. And when you hear them saying what they say to us, irregardless as to what the planning board, or irregardless to other facts, their fact of the matter, as I listen, is that they are not satisfied with what is going on in that neighboring community now. And they do not want any additional sand mine in that particular area. So I have to be mindful of their concern. I have to be mindful of the concerns of the citizens of Pitt County. So that's why I have a problem to vote, irregardless as to whether any other facts come to me at this time. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Call for question.
Okay, any other comments? I think we've commented enough. So the substitute motion, if you will restate that, Madam Clerk.
Who seconded the substitute?
Well,
Is to deny the application.
okay, the motion is to deny the application. All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed?
That passes.
Okay, so it passed. Okay?
Madam Chairman,
Yes, sir.
may I make one final comment?
Yes, sir, you may.
I was not voting
we're moving-
against that motion
None of us were.
because I am not interested in listening to the community, because I'm very interested in listening to the community. But I don't believe in voting for something that I don't think I have the total data, the complete data I need to make a quality decision. And that's why I voted the way I voted.
And I think that's all four of the people. We really don't just represent one section. When we sit up here, we have to represent the whole county. And we're just trying to get all the information we can. Mr. Webb?
Thank you.
And that'll be it.
Yes, ma'am. I just want to point out, too, I believe the company has acted in good faith. They purchased property in Pitt County. They've gone through the proper permitting. And part of my reason for voting against it was because my issue was more information, which may not have
Right.
changed my vote. But I don't know now that we'll get it because it's not going back for study. I also would like to point out that the company will now have to wait a year and then pay another fee to reapply.
Right.
And so anyway, hopefully in the future, when these things are brought before us, that we will have the additional information ahead of time, and that become a part of the permitting process. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Sutton, we'll let you come ask the question. But then that's going to be it. We didn't say we'd give you an answer. No, go ahead.
You know, with all due respect to the board, my concern is this at this point, is the timing of this. Barnhill had their application before you, and for a mine operation expansion, it's much, much larger than this. The timing of the opposition speaking, and you approve a 60 or 70 acre mining permit, and then won't approve a 16 acre that had previously been approved. That's hard for me to understand. I want you to understand words, and with all due respect to the board, because y'all do have a very difficult job. And I just wanted to make that statement to you. I don't know what the position of my clients will be on this. I would think they would probably seriously look at appealing to Superior Court, but I don't know that. But with all due respect to the board, that was my question.
Sure, and we heard you, and thank you very much for that.
That's my unusual.
That was why I was trying to make sure we.
Okay, I understand it.
That was going on. So thank you for coming tonight.
Listen, thank you, Ms. Wood.
You have a good evening. Okay, okay, we've done our next presentation already, and Mr. Hurd and Mr. Rhodes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We're going to switch gears a little bit. We've got a nice.
This is very good news.
This is very good news. We've alluded to this in the past. A number of staff members were involved with nominating the Pitt County home property and its complex out there for a Healthy Place competition through the North Carolina chapter of the American Planning Association earlier this year. Pleased to announce that we were, by popular vote here locally, selected as the Healthy Place of the Year, and we've got Mr. Joe Hurd, who's the planning director, with Kitty Hawk, who also serves on the board with NCAPA, here to make the formal presentation. Of course, our Madam Chair was in Raleigh earlier this summer, stole the show there when there was an event, and really got a lot of good insight as to what else is going on in the state. There are several other great places that have been also nominated and selected around the state, but we were fortunate to get ours here. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Hurd for his comments.
And while you're coming up, those of you who are looking at the picture, that was the big poster that was there. And you'll notice that all of them are cities or towns. And we're the first and only counties so far that have gotten this award. So I'm really proud of Pitt County. Yes, sir. Welcome.
Well, good evening, Chairman Ward, members of the Board of Commissioners, and members of the public here this evening. Thank you for the opportunity to join you on this very special occasion. As James mentioned, my name is Joe Hurd, and I'm the Director of Community Development, actually for the town of Duck now. He took me back a few years to Kitty Hawk there, still on the Outer Banks, though. And tonight, I'm proud to be serving a more important role as a representative and board member for the North Carolina chapter of the American Planning Association, which represents over 1,500 professional planners throughout our state. And these are folks who, our role is looking at development and the way communities work. And so to get an award of this nature is a significant thing. 5 years ago, our chapter implemented the Great Places in North Carolina program. The purpose of the initiative is to recognize the most successful efforts of communities throughout our state and to celebrate our great places in North Carolina. So this year, Pitt County was the sole recipient of the People's Choice Award as a great place for healthy living. So the strength of Pitt County's efforts are found in the great variety of activities there at the county home complex. And all of those resources you've got there, folks have an opportunity to engage in physical activity, nutrition, education, create social connections, cultural heritage, even animal care and recycling, all in one location. And I was actually really excited to hear from James that you're not done yet. That Pitt County does intend to continue adding new features to the complex as outlined in the recently adopted District Park Master Plan. So that's of great interest and excitement to us. So tonight, I'll get to the point, and we salute the collaborative efforts of the elected leaders, other community leaders, local businesses, and volunteers to develop an active, multifaceted destination that benefits all members of the Pitt County community. And on behalf of the North Carolina chapter of the American Planning Association, it's my pleasure to present Chairman Ward with this plaque recognizing Pitt County as a 2016 Great Place in North Carolina.
Thank you so much for coming, and thank you. We appreciate it. I think it's, and James, where are you? Okay. He did a very nice, going over what we have out there. Maybe you can just call the things that the citizens will recognize, as the, Alice King Park.
We've got a
and the
lot of good
soccer
facilities out
places
there.
and-
If you have not been out to the county home complex of late, we've got the district park. We've got the namesake Alice King here in the audience that was instrumental in helping us get this designation. We've got the senior center that's also located there. We've got walking trails that connect over to Wintergreen Schools that has about 1,500 kids there during the school year. We've got the community garden, and that has been wildly popular. Our county writer will also note that it is a very vibrant area with folks out there continually, even in these hot days. Also, we've got Ms. Lee Guth here, of course, she's instrumental not only at the community garden through cooperative extension, but also the farmers markets there. We've got the recycling center. We've also have the animal shelter located in that site. The Village of Yesteryear and their new term, East Carolina Village and Museum, Farm Museum, is located out there. So a lot of attractions, and it's only going to get better. A lot of people are out there, even on these hot days. So you should be proud.
Thank you very much, and I think we are. Thank you very much.
And Chairman, if you'll allow, it's on the manager's report later, but I'm not sure if this ward had anything to do with it, but the Planning Association North Carolina chapter has selected Greenville and Pitt County for their 2007 convention. So they will be,
Yes.
hopefully in conjunction with Greenville, will be hosting that, and so we're thankful, and we look forward to welcome you to Greenville and Pitt County.
Yes, thank you very much. Maybe this had something to do with, no, we'll see. Our next item, excuse me, okay, David?
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chairman, it was all right and it was a good gesture to invite the planning board to go back with this issue, but it's gonna come back here when they finish their evaluation. It's gonna come back before this board for our final vote and approval or disapproval when they finish their recommendation.
Thank you. Our public address to the board is our next item.
The first person you have signed up is Matt McMahon.
Madam Chair, I'll keep your time at 3 minutes per speaker.
Yes, thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, good evening. My name is Matt McMahon. I'm a resident of Pitt County. I live off Blackjack Simpson Road. I'm here this evening to discuss concerns with the radio system oversight in Pitt County. I've spent the last 20 years in emergency services, and I'm privileged to assist numerous agencies at the local, regional, state, and federal level. I'm credentialed by DHS as a communication instructor. We're simply missing the mark and failing in certain areas in Pitt County. For the last few years, many of us have attempted to assist with communication, planning, and system access. Recently, the EM office has reached out for assistance with backup system planning, and I remain optimistic that we will soon have an organized written communication plan. As a member of the Radio System Upgrade Committee, I posed a few questions to leadership about radio system access. After many unanswered emails, I received a letter from the Pitt County Engineering Office on July 18th stating that further questions would require additional funding for answers. I still have not received any answers to my questions. Unfortunately, the questions asked needed to be answered by Pitt County, not the consultant. I want to ensure that the board is informed of the current situation related to system access. Since the implementation of the system, some municipalities in Pitt County require to pay additional user fees to merely access the system for the purpose of interoperability related to life safety. All Pitt County property owners pay Pitt County property taxes. I would like to know, how is it fair to allow only some citizens of Pitt County to have access to the system while others have to pay additional user fees? This is not a secondary non-essential service. This is life and death communications for responders to aid in saving lives of Pitt County residents and visitors. Some agencies have in excess of over 400 radios used for daily operations. In that example, one agency would be paying almost $4,000 a month simply to access the system that Pitt County has. We are not treating all residents of Pitt County equally. Currently, Pitt County radio systems users have redundancy and backup layers such as the North Carolina Viper system. Agencies that use the Viper system as their primary communication method are not afforded the same redundancy layers without paying additional user fees for the Pitt County radio system. Currently, all emergency services that use the Viper system, which is over 90,000 users today, pay no user fees. I urge the board to not listen to excuses or foolish reasoning on the current access restrictions. Emergency responders, citizens, and visitors rely on the board to make the right decisions and do the right thing. While some agencies are complaining about system coverage, you've seen it in the paper, other agencies are not even afforded access to the system. I urge you to consider the equal treatment of all Pitt County residents, especially all emergency services. I have a handout that addresses system access concerns along with system oversight. I'd appreciate you reviewing the document at your convenience and helping Pitt County set the example. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have something you'd like to
Yes, ma'am.
pass out? If you'll give it to the clerk, she'll see that it all gets passed out to us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
The next person you have signed up is Brenda Brown.
Brenda Brown. Oh, okay. I couldn't see for the pilings.
Good afternoon.
Hey, Ms. Brown.
I'm here tonight because of the standing train on 1861 Staten Mills Road. The train it parks right behind my house. The noise, and it's concerning to my health. I don't know what kind of chemicals they have up there. And they promised when they moved out there on Staten Mills Road that they wouldn't have any standing trains and the noise wouldn't be a bother to us. But it's been 3 years and we still have that same problem. And I want to know, is there anything that y'all can do or come up with so the train will not park behind my house with that noise 24/7?
We don't usually speak to the public hearing. We just hear what you have to say, but I will tell you that we're in the process, if the attorney just would like to say what we've done.
Yeah, so the most recent activities, the county has been working directly with John Dillard, who is the community relations person for CSX. We have met with him in person, and we are expecting a further written reply from him, assuring what type of solutions he can implement. We expected a reply last week, and he's asked for additional time. At the same time we have that effort going, we have reached out to the Surface Transportation Board, which is in Washington, D.C., and they oversee railroads. We have a conference call with them Wednesday morning at 11 o'clock. They will, the terms they used were shuttle diplomacy between the county's concerns and the railroad, and they will assist us in any way they can from the federal government level. I know other commissioners have also made efforts directly through Senator Burr's office, and we continue to follow up on those efforts. And so the bottom line really is that the laws do not allow a local government or individuals to regulate railroads. So we are using all of the resources that may be available to us to try and effect a difference. There's no question that we have received all of the concerns, that the concerns are very serious, that we are taking those concerns seriously, and that we have shared them with everybody that we know to share them with, in addition to this board passing a full resolution. And so we've had a resolution, we've had contact with CSX and contact with the federal government.
So things are in action, but we don't know what the outcome is going to be. We're reaching out to everybody that we can to get them to do something about your concern. We're very aware of it, and I thank you for coming tonight and bringing it back up again.
Madam Chair.
Okay.
Just real briefly, though, and I know we said a lot of nice politically correct things just then, but rallies, we're aggressively going after this.
We really are.
And I can't help but feel like the response by CSX has been somewhat antagonistic towards the citizens out there. When you leave the train out there for 20 hours running and driving people crazy out there whenever there's a complaint brought up, and the timing is especially suspicious to me about the way they've acted. I think CSX, not maybe as a company, but as a particular decision maker who has control over a certain train, has been despicable. It has been horrible to these citizens, and I think it flies in the face of any kind of decency, and we really are focused on this. And I know Mr. Farley has, and several other commissioners have been in contact with Senator Burr's office and one of his staffers almost daily. I spoke to him personally about it when I saw him this weekend. They are doing everything they can through Federal Railroad Administration and the board that the attorney mentioned. So I'm sorry it is taking that long, but I promise you we are being as squeaky of a wheel as we can to make sure that this gets handled.
And thank you for coming to share with us.
Okay, thank you.
And as soon as we know something, we'll let everybody know. Okay?
Next individual is Charles Creedle.
Hello again. How are you? The lady that just spoke to you is my across the railroad tracks neighbor. Very good neighbor. And I heard all that you said, and we're both, and our whole neighborhood are appreciative of what you all are doing. But just for your information, in the past week, they have left the train sitting there running day and night twice. On Saturday the 6th, they pulled up at 2:25 p.m. It sat there and ran all day Saturday, Saturday night, all day Sunday, and it left Sunday afternoon at 6:50 p.m. That's 29 hours that train sat between our houses running. 29 hours. No break. And then Thursday, it shows back up on August the 11th. It comes in at 2:15. It sits there and runs all afternoon, all night, and the next day it leaves at 6:35 a.m. That's 16 hours sitting there constantly running. I understand they may have had a problem down the track. Maybe they couldn't run the train. But if they hadn't have left it there to start with, if they'd have put it in the yard where it belongs, none of that would have been a problem. So I just thank all of you, and I want you to have that information.
Thank you very much, and we are
I know, and we
continuing to work
appreciate it.
really hard on this.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay?
Okay. The next person signed up is Veronica Robertson.
I'd like to yield for the mayor.
Okay. That would be Doug Jackson.
I mean, he brought his whole back force.
Madam Chairman and Commissioners, first I'd like to apologize for my attire. My wife asked me when I got ready to leave, "You gonna go out to the commissioners meeting dressed like that?" And I said, well, I was required, as most of you know, to wear a tie for 30 years. I don't have to wear one anymore.
You look fine, Doug.
I tell people.
We're glad to have you here.
I tell people I'm just as pretty as I can be. If I could be any prettier, I would be, so.
Hey, don't use up your 3 minutes.
I can tell you a whole lot quicker than that.
Mr. Mayor.
But I'm
Mr.
here
Mayor.
because.
Tell your wife I agree with her.
Oh, okay. I'm here because our board asked me, we wrote a letter, I think you may have it, but I thought I would bring it, a copy of it and read it to you. And I just leave off all the to who's and so forth. I write to you on behalf of the Town of Winnable Town Council concerning automatic aid agreements between the Town of Winnable Fire Rescue EMS Department and the surrounding fire departments that may respond with the Town of Winnable jurisdiction in times of emergencies. As you know, the Winnable Community Rural Fire Department organized and began serving the Winter Rural Fire District in May of 2010. At that time, Pitt County staff ceased, listen to this, at that time, Pitt County staff ceased to dispatch of automatic aid between the Winnable Fire Departments and its automatic aid departments, Aden, Red Oak, and Eastern Pines. This left the Town of Winnable in a potentially vulnerable position with regards to emergency incidents. In full disclosure, there is an area located primarily north of Vernon White Road in which the City of Greenville responds to the town in an automatic aid capacity. The automatic aid received in this area is based upon a reciprocal agreement that is in place between the two municipalities. Other areas of the town are currently left with automatic aid coverage. Pitt County 911 began dispatching the newly formed Winnable Community Rural Fire Department to the town to assist Winnable Fire Department with no agreement in place. Currently, the Winnable Community Rural Department responds with a fire engine to to dispatch Winnable Fire Department structure calls. However, this continues to concur with no automatic aid in place, and the town does not respond to the Winnable Community Rural Fire Department when like calls arise. At the time of the formation of the new department, town staff, rural department staff, and Pitt County staff began discussing the implementation of automatic aid between the departments. However, this yet has to be done. And I won't read the rest of it, but something needs to be done. And I'll give you an example. Last week, a gentleman that lives on Worthington Road.
If you'll wrap it up.
Okay. Anyhow, he came to my house complaining there had been a fire right across the road from his house. When the rural fire department responded, he went over. Now, this is what he told me. He asked him, said, "Are you going to put any water on the fire?" "We don't have any water." One of them was not dispatched. Eastern Pines finally came. Of course, they had a long ways to come, and they put the fire out. But before they put the fire out, an antique truck was destroyed in the fire. So my point is, something needs to be done. There's a paragraph in here about where the location of the new station that the rules are going to put. You can almost throw a baseball from the fire department that exists there now. So, and they also own 2 acres of land on Rita Branch Road they've already bought. Okay, I thank you.
Yes, sir, thank you very much. And I do know that this is being looked at. I think, don't we have something on the agenda? Not tonight, but we are definitely very aware and talking about it, working on it. Thank you very much.
And that's all that's signed up.
Okay, that's all that's signed up. So we will move on to our items for report. Ms. Booker?
Ain't you gonna say we can?
Move we approve it.
Second.
All right, all in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, any opposition?
Oh, no, we got to talk about this one.
And next, James, the update on the petition for the subdivision street improvements.
Just a brief update. We've been talking with you for a while concerning street maintenance issues, and we have received a valid petition, excuse me, from the Woodmore subdivision as well as Woodmore Farm subdivision. When those petitions came in, remember, per state statutes, it is a requirement that 75% of the landowners, as well as 75% of those that or 75% of the frontage along the roads have to sign the petition. So it's a verification process that legal staff has assisted with. And in turn, after review of these and also getting updated information from DOT for the punch list of what's required for these roads that have fallen in disrepair, you may know we've got about $220,000 set aside through our finance office for these repairs. Based on some of our cost estimates to date, based on the new updated punch list, it will take not much less than that just to cover the area in red on this map on the screen. So with that, Madam Chair, we just want to let you know we're proceeding on as staff with a community meeting for those people that live in Woodmore subdivision. We're going to have a community meeting next Monday at Trinity Free Will Baptist Church. Since the cost estimate is significantly higher, we felt it was necessary to talk with the community first before bringing the first step back to you at your September meeting. So we wanted to be upfront with the property owners, and then we'll be bringing you the preliminary resolution at your September meeting.
Okay. How are you letting them know about the meetings? Is everybody getting a letter or whatever?
We met with the point person for the community today. He's already sent an email out, He's also gonna receive a flyer from us tomorrow to send out, and we're going door to door, put on the front porches either tomorrow or the next day.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And yes, Ms.
Madam
Hammond.
Chairman, I would like, John to tell us which one of those, Free Will Baptist, what's the name of that Free Will Baptist
That's
church?
Trinity on Greenville Boulevard.
Trinity, I know where it is. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Gallagher, a report of our statewide legislative goals.
Yes, just briefly, it seems like we just finished up the short session, legislative session, and we're gearing up already for the next biennium of the North Carolina General Assembly. They will reconvene January of 2017, January 11th of 2017, and in anticipation of that, we typically, as a board, have developed legislative goals that this board will adopt, that we will forward to the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners. They will screen and may add to their advocacy list for advocacy during the long session of the General Assembly. So this report is to let you know some of the deadlines that we have. So your next meeting will be September 12th, and that is your last opportunity before the deadline of September 23rd to submit goals to the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners. In your packet, you have included the goals process that the association follows, and at the end of your materials, you can see the goals that you adopted for the last two-year biennium, the 2015-16 biennium. As examples of what we've done, most of that has been accomplished. So the purpose of my report is just to get you all thinking about what goals you will be interested in pursuing for the next biennium. I have sent out an email to all department heads and solicited goals from their perspective as well. And then we'll bring this item back on September 12th for you to adopt a list of goals for the upcoming year.
So are you asking for the submission from the commissioners between now and then?
Yes, please.
Okay. Everyone understand that?
That we submit
To her, any goals you're thinking about?
Yes, I'll
Okay.
bring them all back on the 12th, and then you can choose which ones you'd like to adopt.
Okay, great.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much for that report. And now,
Okay.
Mr. Taylor.
Okay, the manager's report, next meeting dates, as you're aware, there'll only be one meeting in September, and that was one that Janice was just referring to. That's September 12th. That'll be at 9 a.m. And then the next one following will be October 3rd at 9 a.m. I'd already mentioned earlier that the American Planning Association is going to be holding their fall conference here in Greenville and Pitt County, and we will definitely work together to make sure that that's an enjoyable experience for that group. Also wanted to update you on the voting equipment for the board. We have purchased the equipment after some review by those that would be responsible for facilitating that through the meeting. They wanted to make some additional improvements for the display to make it more user-friendly, not only for the board, but for the public at large. And so that has pushed the implementation out to get back with that company until October, November, so that's what the delay is. Courthouse furniture replacement update. That agreement has been made, and that should be remedied in the September to October timeframe, so that issue has been resolved. As you know, or at least the ones that were attending, the annual conference for the Association of County Commissioners was hosted by Forsyth, and that was this past weekend. One of the things that we were pleased with is our Commissioner Webb is now still on the board as past president. We were honored by the governor who addressed the annual business meeting. And then we also had Senator Richard Burr at the Saturday evening event to swear in the new officers. So that was a pleasure. One of the surprise things at the conference, and I'll ask Lee Goof to come up, Pitt County was one of three counties, those being Catawba, Granville, and Pitt, to receive the, from the Cooperative Extension Agency, the County Partnership Award. And so it is in recognition of the outstanding partnership through commitment of resources, inclusiveness in county government, advocacy, and involvement. And that was awarded August 11, 2016. So I would just congratulate Lee and ask her if she has any comments to add to that.
Thank you, Mike. Commissioners, I just wanted to let you know, when I came almost a year ago, I was amazed by the way Pitt County and Cooperative Extension work together on issues like the county home project with the farmers market and the community gardens, with the county's willingness to serve as a host financial organization for grants that we've received through Vidant, but helping us administer those grants. For the work that's been done all along that my predecessor Mitch did, along with the staff at Extension and the county staff. And I just thought they were exemplary. I've seen other counties that did not work so well in partnership, and I just have the hopes that we will continue to work as good stewards together. And I felt like the county needed that recognition of what they've been doing. Another example is when we had staff cutting in Cooperative Extension and we're going to lose an administrative position, the county in good faith stepped forward and helped provide that second person to help with the administrative pieces of a staff of 13. So we really do appreciate it, and I was honored as well that it was accepted for an award.
Thank you for everything you've done since you've
Delighted.
been here. It's been a very good relationship.
And it will continue, so thank you.
Thank you, Lee. And Mike Emmer will be coming out, and while he's coming out to, for the next item, as you can see, we already had on the report to give an update on the CSX Railroad, and so that's already been covered, so I won't ask, include anything.
Do Mr. Webb or Mr. McLaughlin, do you all want to say anything about the group? And make sure you look at the time.
Yeah, I'll be very, very, I just want to thank the citizens of this county for giving me the opportunity to serve here, and giving me the ability to serve statewide with the association, and also this board and our staff for the support and advice they've given me throughout this journey. It's gone by pretty fast over the last 4 years to work through my year as president, but just to give you an idea, we did a lot during this term. We revamped our website entirely with the association. We have a leadership lunch that we do annually now, which the first one was hosted here at East Carolina University, so that we can expose political science and MPA students to the value of county government jobs. We have increased our educational opportunities. We have started implementing our strategic plan. So we're on track for the next 10 years. I was proud that that happened during my term. And it's now in the hands of Commissioner Fred McClure of Davidson County. He's going to do an outstanding job. I'm glad to be there to support him. But thank you all and the citizens for their support, because it's impossible to do without support back home. So thank you.
Well, I was going to say this later, but we've been very proud of you, and we appreciate you representing Pitt County so well, which you did. And we were very proud of you.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I just want to mention I was the third president from Pitt County, joining J. Vance Perkins from 1958 and 59, and Commissioner Bob Martin, 1971 and 72.
Thank you. You're in good company there.
Very.
Okay, Mr. McLaughlin.
I want to echo what the chairman said, that we certainly appreciate Lynn's service as the president for the state, and did an outstanding job. One of the things that concerned me was that our relationship is based, as you know, is based on mutual respect and trust and common purpose. We have to say this about public education and the facts and history of that. Pitt County has established the fact that we've gotten along well with our educational system here in Pitt County. We don't have the problem that so many other counties have. It's simply because of our mutual respect and common purpose, and we do appropriate more funding to them each year. The other thing I'd certainly like to mention very briefly is that I was very proud of Dwayne Holder. He did an outstanding job along with Melissa Lawson on the Stepping Up initiative. That was a very good program, and we, Pitt County, I'm proud to say that we have taken the lead role, one of the major lead roles across the nation in working in this program. And so what they did in their presentation was very, very, very good, and certainly very proud of. Very briefly, I'd like to mention this is that we went to a youth leadership program. A 17-year-old gentleman is a digital media consultant, and he's a consultant with the Ford Motor Company, and he has a very good social media expertise. So we're very proud to see how our young folks are taking the initiative across the country in dealing with some of the concerns and issues of the government. So, Madam Chair, with that,
Okay, thank you. We will go next to our county website update, and thank you very much for your presentation.
Evening, Chairman Ward, Commissioners. I was just asked to give you a brief look at
Yes.
the new website.
Yes.
It's a culmination of several months of hard work. We went with the company Civic Plus to help build the website. It's a very good company, over 20 years experience and 2,000, I think, websites for local governments.
Wow.
This is kind of look. If there's any technical questions, I can defer that obviously to our Chief Information Officer. Any content questions, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Okay, it's up and running.
Yes.
So, yes.
Yes,
And
we perform.
everybody should have access to it, and I have cruised it, or whatever the appropriate technology word is.
Yes, we did
And,
a soft launch on June 10th.
Right.
And so a little over 2 months now.
Okay, all right. Any questions or comments? Okay, thank you very much, and that makes our citizens aware. Thank you. Okay.
And have one other item that's not on the report. You saw in your Friday packet, the manager had sent out a memo announcing the selection of emergency management director. So I'd ask Alan just to come forward and acknowledge him. He was selected we did 3 interviews, and we just wanted to introduce him formally. You probably saw that also in the reflector today, and I'll just turn it over to Alan.
Thank you. Good evening. I just wanted to take just a moment to say thank you. It's truly an honor to be able to serve in this position with Pitt County, and truly look forward to continuing the outstanding relationship with the community, working with fire and EMS, law enforcement, our elected officials, municipalities, as we work to prepare the county and move forward with any type of emergencies we may face. So I look forward to the opportunity. Thank you.
Welcome, and thank you.
And that's all I have.
Okey-doke. And I will entertain a motion for
So
items for
moved.
consent.
Second.
Okay,
Second.
all in favor of approving the items for consent, please raise your right hand. Okay, we'll move on to our items for discussion. Dwayne Holder.
Dwayne's going to get us back on track.
What's that?
You're going to get us back on track.
Yeah, you can make
time-wise.
this one short, because this is a good one. I'm ready to make a motion on this.
Yes.
All right, good evening, Madam Chair. The other board the rest of the board as well. Commissioner Garrett's already said it, but this is a good news item that we bring before you on this evening. We have the opportunity to save a considerable amount of money on some existing debt that we have for public schools as well as Pitt Community College. And this opportunity has been brought about as the result of current market conditions. In your packet, and it's actually on pages 88 through 91, and we also have on the screen for the benefit of the public a very short PDF presentation that I want to walk you through the opportunity that we have. It's not only an opportunity to save money on existing debt, but it's also an opportunity to leverage current market conditions to finance 2 projects that we have that will be coming before you. We have 2 new money projects, which is actually on the agenda this evening. John Demery will be presenting the construction and demolition recycling facility, the results of those bids that went out. That's a $1.8 million project, up to $1.8 million. And then also building renovations at the Pitt Community College Everett building. If you will recall, when we came before you for education borrowing, we had a $27.5 million LOBS project $25 million of that was for public schools. $2.5 million was for PCC Everett building renovations, and that's largely for their library renovations. And so at the time that we went out for the borrowing for the public school system, they were not ready to let all of those projects, nor was PCC ready because of some state regulations. They're waiting for approvals from the state. They weren't ready to let the $2.5 million project. We anticipate that being ready in October, but since the conditions are as they are right now, we want to take advantage of the interest rate environment and look at folding those two projects in with a refunding or a refinancing of 2009 and 2010 limited obligation bonds. And so as we look through the overview of the projects, we talked about the two new money projects, the refunding opportunities. There's $20 million of Pitt County Schools 2009 limited obligation bonds and $13.4 million of 2010 limited obligation bonds, which were for Pitt Community College. As is stated in your packet, the 2009 limited obligation bonds were for work at D.H. Conley, Eastern Elementary, Farmville Central, and Lake Forest. And the 2010, there were 3 facilities at Pitt Community College that were constructed: the Russell Academic Classroom Building, Automotive and Carpentry Building, as well as a Facility Services Complex. We have, as I said, opportunity to save up to $2.3 million of net present value savings on both of those 2 remaining debt issues.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Do we have?
Well, and just so that we're aware, what we're looking for approval for is just moving forward.
Right.
No action that would be taken tonight would be final, but just so that we can start working with bond
This is
counsel
item for
in
decision.
moving forward.
Yes, it is, and we're going to acknowledge that to make sure, but I wanted to make sure that we understood that it was to move forward, that we weren't closing out the deal.
Correct.
Okay. So
Madam Chair.
we have a motion and a second to move
vote.
forward,
Yeah,
and
just-
yes, Mr. Owens?
Response.
Yes, sir.
You made it was for the Pitt County Schools and Pitt Community College. This 2.3 is really for the taxpayers.
It is a
And-
savings to the taxpayers.
And I think that that's
It
very
is.
good.
Right.
And it's a further expansion. Those current that current debt is being serviced out of quarter-cent sales tax funds. So what it does is it creates opportunity for more capacity in that fund. Yes, sir.
Thank you, very good point. Okay, the motion's been made to move forward. Let's vote, please. All in favor? Okay. Unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Holder. Thank you, Mr. Farley. Then we have our items for decision. James?
Just to go back to an item that we've already dealt with and to hopefully get a little bit more recognition for our recently designated Great Place Award. Wanted to also bring before you a possibility of having new signage installed at our Welcome to Pitt County locations. And these, of course, you know, we've installed these at all the NC and US routes coming into the county. We already have a resolution that stated Home of East Carolina is one of our slogans. We're eligible to have 2 of these slogans through DOT. What we'd also like to recommend, kind of this version. Previously, we had the Fit Communities designation that was designated in 2013. Those have been removed. We can use those same panels and put the Great Place for Healthy Living up there if you would like to do so. We have a resolution before you tonight for this consideration, and it'll go before Department of Transportation for official approval.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
No,
Okay.
Second.
Excuse me.
Question. Mr. James, is there any possibility of including entering the Pitt County Soil and Water?
That would be a separate sign. They usually have their
But I
own
understand
signage.
in the past, the DOT officials have been just hard to work with and not allowing anything to happen in that regard.
We'll be glad to talk with them about that. That typically, in other counties, we see that as a separate sign.
I saw an opening to inquire about it, thank you.
All right.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Garris?
James, your words say that we get permission from DOT to do this,
Yes,
but we pay for it, right?
that is correct.
Okay. What
It
will it
is our-
cost? What will it cost?
Well, we have the sign blades already. It's gonna be, staff time for us, and we've got the, tools and all to do this. It would be minimal.
Okay, I move that we proceed to make this happen.
Okay. There's been a motion and a second to proceed with this idea. All in favor, please raise your hand. Okey-doke.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And next, Mr. Demery.
Board,
How are you?
members of the board, thank you for the opportunity. Real quickly, over the past 3 years, Solid Waste and Recycling Department has been recycling C&D waste. It's not been very efficient in the way we've been doing it. The amount of material we've probably removed is about less than 20%. At the January 25th Capital Improvements Plan, I came before you and made a presentation on C&D recycling, which included a sorting system. At that meeting, y'all gave me the authority to move forward. Operating a C&D sorting system at the transfer station is the best method possible to increase the amount of material to remove from the waste stream. Currently, there's 4 large construction jobs within Pitt County that require to recycle their C&D waste in order to meet requirements to be a LEED certified building. And LEED stands for Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. A lot of ECU, all their buildings they want them to be LEED buildings, so there's a lot more opportunity, or people are looking for opportunities to recycle their C&D waste. With this new system will provide us the means to increase the level and also will take Pitt County to the next level in recycling. Over a year ago, we entered into a contract with the East Group to help us design and prepare bids for the purchase, installation, and construction and site work for the C&D recycling facility. It was decided at that time that we would do 2 different bid contracts and prepare them and send them out. The intent of the 2 different contracts was to keep the cost down. Both contracts were advertised as required and bid tabulations are attached. Contract 1 is for the purchase, installation, and training of the sorting equipment. 7 companies showed interest and 3 submitted bids. The low bid was submitted by Metal Tech Systems in the amount of $720,599, which includes the base bid and a bid alternate. The bid alternate was an additional picking station. After Contract 1 and Contract 2 were opened and under the approved budget of $1.8 million, staff negotiated a price for an additional wood recovery conveyor system at a cost of $172,478. The additional picking station. So the total cost would be $914,219 for the whole sorting system. We visited some 4 to 5 similar systems over the past 6 months, and what we noticed and in our discussions with that clean wood or wood is one of your biggest commodities. And therefore, this will give us the opportunity, that conveyor system everybody will be able to pick the wood product out. Contract 2 is for the building and site work. 12 companies showed interest and 8 submitted bids. The low bid was submitted by Hudson Brothers for the amount of $612,000. So our recommendation is to approve the overall funds required for the C&D facility in the total amount of $1,775,804, which includes the award of Contract 1 and Contract 2. and also a 10% contingency not to exceed $153,000.
Okay,
Motion to approve.
Second.
okay. Any questions?
One question.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned the 4 large construction job sites. How much funding do you expect to pay towards this, do you anticipate and get from those big 4 deals?
Well, we're getting their waste right now.
I know money-wise, can you guess that?
I would say over the project, couple of $100,000 worth of tipping fees.
So it's not self-funded then, is it?
Yes, sir, it'll be, yes, sir.
Well, I just-
Over a period of time,
I was just wondering why you stood out 4. I was hoping you were gonna say it was totally self-funded, but you answered my question, thank you.
Okay. All right. All in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Okay, any opposition?
thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Holder? Are you, no, James? You're next, I'm sorry.
Madam Chairman, this is something we've been talking about a
Yes.
long time, and I would like to make a motion that we move forward and adopt the
Second.
interlocal agreement.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded.
We have
Any-
2 interlocals now, just want to make sure we
Okay.
get both of those.
Okay, both proposals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Okay,
Which one are you on now?
the Candlewick and the
Candlewick.
motion has been
Madam
made.
Chair, I'd like to show as abstaining on that, please, for
Okay, all
way
right.
back reasons.
Okay,
Thank you.
then if there are no other comments, all in favor, please raise your right hand. Okay,
Thank you very much.
yes, sir. And now, Mr. Holder.
Good evening again. If the board will recall, at your August 1st meeting, we did bring forward this request for the release of equipment installment financing request for proposals. We have brought it back to hopefully discuss further and address any concerns that the board may have had after having an opportunity to review it. This, again, will cover the radio and paging enhancement costs, as well as our annual recommended vehicle replacements in accordance with our vehicle replacement plan, voting machines, and a new digital camera system at the detention center. Included in your packet is the RFP document that we intend to send out to a wide variety of financing institutions, and we expect to receive interest as well as favorable rates. And also in your packet is a timeline, a proposed timeline for the financing of this issue, as well as on page 127, you'll see a list of the recommended vehicle replacements as recommended by our county fleet manager, as well as the sheriff's office.
Okay. Any questions, or anybody have a motion?
Motion to move forward.
Second.
Okay. Did you have a question?
No, I had a statement I want to say relative to the handicap equipment that has arrived, and I was able to see that when I got here this afternoon.
Okay, thank you. The improvements outside, and they were long coming. Okay, all in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Okay, any opposition?
Yes.
Okay. All right,
And Madam Chair, just a reminder that this will come back before you when we do receive
yes,
those.
before, this is just giving you the right to go out
Yes, ma'am.
and look. Okay, and Mr. Corley.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. This item takes us back to our last meeting when we granted a right of entry for this parcel for construction of the Southwest Bypass Project. If you recall, DOT, we gave DOT a right of entry so they could begin their work, so we wouldn't hold them up. At this time, we've come up with the resolution approving the right-of-way acquisition as well as the amendment of a U.S. Cellular lease, the lease that we currently have on the property. So I'll go through a few slides here. Again, DOT has made the offer to purchase, and the parcel number is 00324. I've got a couple maps here kind of showing the general location off of Stantonsburg Road. The purple shading there is the approximate location of the bypass, with the property in question being the gray or silver shaded area. This is just for reference. Again, this is the gray is the subject parcel. You'll see the existing U.S. Cellular leased site. That is their access. The green is their access easement into the site, and the associated tower site, which is kind of the square area down to the south there. It is 95.5 acres. The property is. DOT is wanting to acquire 3.871 acres. The total purchase price is $199,524. Which includes $87,000 payment to U.S. Cellular for construction of their new access road. I just want to point out that these funds are not coming directly out of the funds we received from DOT. These funds, $87,000 was actually negotiated kind of between U.S. Cellular and DOT as far as what amount it would take to get their road constructed. So that $87,000 did not affect the monies that we were proposed to us for the acquisition. So the breakdown, the value of the right-of-way for the property is $43,874. Permanent utility easements is $3,375. And then damages total was $152,275, which the $87,000 is included in that $152,000. We got the tax card from the tax office. The approximate value that was used per acre of this land was $6,000 per acre. Based on the $43,000 and change that DOT is proposing, it's about a little over $11,000 per acre that they're proposing to pay us.
Just one question for Mr.
Okay.
Corley.
Are you finished, Mr.
Let me. There's just a couple more maps. Let me just show. This is a good map which depicts the red shading is the actual area that DOT is proposing to purchase. I will point out there is a small sliver that was proposed that was damaged out basically as DOT proposes it, and it would have been just a permanent easement, but it would have still belonged to the county. However, we've decided there was an option in the contract to allow them to own that as well. So that property will not be ours. It will actually be DOT's as well. That's the little area that's behind that one triangle that's not shaded in that general area right there. The driveway that DOT will put in will be DOT standard along Stantonsburg Road. The driveway itself will be accessed for U.S. Cellular and for any future development or anything we decide to do with that property. So it'll be a shared drive. It's non-exclusive, meaning that both parties can access it. So with that, I'll take any questions you may have.
Okay, Mr. Farley?
Are you the author of this resolution?
The resolution itself, this is one that was, I guess, used in conjunction with the ones we had already done, so yes.
Okay, so I'm glad to see you're coming up to speed with things of this. This is an excellent resolution that we should go forward with.
Okay, thank you very much. Then we need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay.
Question.
Question, yes, sir.
Looking at your red area here, how much right-of-way, how much entrance is reserved from the green to the, I guess it would be the northeastern side of that?
The actual egress easement is 35 feet. I believe I actually have another map that might, it's not in here. It's about 35 feet. The access easement up at the top where it meets the road right in that area is 35 feet.
35 feet?
Yes, sir. And then there's another about 20 foot on the other side. It's about 55 to 60 foot of frontage on
Well,
Stanton.
do you know, I mean, are you just guessing, or do you know?
No, I'm positive it's 35 feet. Yes, sir.
35 feet?
Yes, sir. The
Now,
actual green area.
If you
that's
want
correct.
to, I'm arguing with you is what I'm doing, you
That's
can
fine.
sense that. But if you want to develop that land, which you've already been arbitrarily taken for practical use, how are you going to develop it with a 35-foot opening up there?
The driveway will already be installed, so the
I don't care,
driveway,
but it's not
anybody.
35 feet, isn't it?
Yeah,
You
but
know
that-
what, the public roads require? 60 feet?
Yeah, actually, I checked with the city of
That's
Greenville.
all right. It's already done, but it's a bad deal. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. We have a motion and a second, all right? Is that correct? Okay, all in favor, please raise your right hand. Anyone opposed?
No.
Okay. All right, thank you very much, Mr. Corley. And we'll move on to you, Mr. Taylor. And before he does this, I should have acknowledged this at the beginning, but our manager had to be away and could not be at the meeting tonight. And I want to thank you for being here, serving in his stead.
He's expedited it real well.
He has done a good job. He really has.
Wayne got us back
I
on
waited
time, as
until
you
the
can see.
end. I waited until the end, so you'll have to pay Wayne for getting us back on.
How about that? We hadn't
Wait.
even missed him.
Exactly. Woo, be careful now.
So the last item for your consideration is the removal of some appointees from the Committee for Employment of People with Disabilities. This is for individuals that have not been in attendance at a regular time, and so that's the motion that
Move
is being
approval.
requested.
Second.
Okay, let's raise our hand if we're in favor, please.
One comment?
Yes,
With
sir.
that many people being exercised from the committee, shouldn't the committee be sunsetted? I just had to
It's a
say that,
large
thank you.
committee.
It
Okay,
is.
it's a pretty
Is a
large
motion
committee.
to adjourn in
Yeah.
order?
No,
we got
We'll do
comments
the
on it.
commissioners' comments, and I think we'll all need to think about how many comments we've made tonight. And we'll start with you, Mr. Webb.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Just one thing I left out when I was listening to things is that we do have now a quarterly professional publication. So the newspaper you were getting is now an online format, will be mainly just informational things. And then now you receive the quarterly publication, which I believe everybody received the first one, which had a particularly handsome model on the front.
Yes, we
The
noticed
Association
that.
spared no
Is that-
expense. I believe it was Russell Crowe, possibly. I'm not sure who it was.
Will
But
that picture be on the magazine every time?
I hope so.
Do cancel my issue.
But thanks again for your support and everything. I couldn't
Thank you
have
for
done
not
it.
telling everybody where that website is. No, I'm just saying.
No comment.
I'm commented out.
Okay.
No comment.
Ms. Owens, Ms. Williams?
Yes. I have a concern about the cutting of grass and the high grass in our area. It is really, I'd like to invite all you commissioners to ride over there and see that it's knee-deep in grass and cutting. I don't think it's been done all summer. We have a mosquito problem, and it's not getting any better. And I'd like to see us come up at least away from the third word of appearance to a better maintained roadside, whoever's in charge. I think I mentioned it to Mr. Rose that earlier, but I want to say that it's important. It's a health issue.
You need to call.
Mosquitoes
you need to
hide
call
in the
DOT.
grass.
You need to
That's
call DOT. We don't,
Mr. Rose gonna take care of it.
Oh, okay.
That's why.
thank you, Mr.
Don't, hey,
Rhodes.
don't use my mower.
Okay, Mr. Colson, do you have a comment? None. Okay, Mr. Hammond? Comment? Okay, I'll entertain a
Move
motion for
approval of
adjournal.
Close.
Okay, we've got a motion, a
Adjourn.
second. Okay, raise your right hand, and we stand adjourned.
Meeting.